Fiscal Policy. There are two main ways for the government to manage the economy: fiscal policy and monetary policy. This video is about fiscal policy. Another one discusses monetary policy. Fiscal policy relates to government decisions about taxation and spending. Just like a person or a family, the government needs to make sure that its spending is in line with its income, or if it is not, then there is a budget deficit that needs to be covered through borrowing. The government earns money mainly by collecting different types of taxes such as income tax, sales tax, and corporate tax. It then spends money on different services, including the police, healthcare, and education. The government also spends money on transfer payments to the unemployed, retired, and others. And there is government investment in projects like bridges and airports. A government is able to have a big impact on the economy through its fiscal policy. The decisions it makes will depend on where the economy is in the business cycle. If there is a recession and unemployment is high, a government can stimulate the economy and increase aggregate demand by increasing spending or reducing taxes. This is called an expansionary fiscal policy. If the government increases spending or reduces taxes, then additional money ends up in people's pockets. Most of this money will be spent and ends up with other people who also spend it, and so on. So, the impact of an expansionary policy is much greater than the initial increase in spending or tax cut because the extra money is spent several times. This is referred to as the multiplier effect. The less money people save, the greater will be the multiplier effect of an expansionary fiscal policy. On the other hand, reductions in government spending or increases in taxation are contractionary policies that have the opposite effect. They reduce aggregate demand in an economy. If the economy is already running at or near full capacity, then the increased government spending will not stimulate the economy, but will only lead to inflation. If the government invests money on new projects and there are no resources available, then the resources will need to be diverted from other activities, and government investment is just replacing private investment. This is called the crowding out effect. Governments can run budget deficits nearly all the time, so they keep on borrowing money. People usually consider lending to governments as a safe investment, and this allows most countries to borrow at low interest rates. The size of the government debt may look huge, but the debt and the annual interest payments need to be put in the context of the size of the economy, as measured by gross domestic product, or GDP. If the economy is large in comparison to the budget deficit and the government debt, then there is not really a problem with the government running budget deficits. As an example, the rules for countries in the Eurozone say that the budget deficit should not be higher than 3% of GDP, and the total government debt should be no more than 60% of GDP. Not all Eurozone countries comply with these rules, and there are good arguments to say that in a recession. Governments need to stimulate the economy by running large budget deficits.